Good morning, gamers. I'm Isaac, and I'm going for a world record.
And I'm Dragonfire Claire.
Ooh. And this is Make
Make
That
that
Game,
game where we pitch the latest
the greatest
new video game ideas.
that they're not real. We make them up. We
Yeah.
just come up. We're the idea pals.
We're the idea pals. That's what
That's
it is.
it. Yeah, we're the idea pals. And then we post on forums. We
Yeah.
say these are our ideas. Who wants to make them for us? We will contribute the ideas and nothing else. Also, this is free.
Yeah.
So hey, Claire.
Yeah.
Dragonfire Claire, should I say? Latest gaming news / endeavors.
Yeah. Well, I would like to take before we jump into like our personal news. I think it'd be a great time for the big news, which is SGDQ
Starts today in a scant 2 hours and 15 minutes for us. By the time you listener listens to this, the earliest it will have been going for several days. So quick, keep this podcast going, but also turn on Twitch. Go to twitch.tv/games done quick. I think it's going to be embarrassing when that's not the URL. Go find Games Done Quick and watch and donate. And I don't know about you. I know you're the one who brought it up, but I have a list of games that I'm super excited for. Sure. Do you have a list of games that you're super excited for?
I mean, yeah, like we've talked about it, but I'm pumped for Kirby. Oh man, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Also, I've been calling it Kirby and the Forgotten Lands, plural, this whole time until
there's just one land.
I know, but I didn't realize it until I think I was doing the podcast edit for last week, and I was getting the link, and I'm like, oh no.
Geez, you've embarrassed yourself in front of our listeners.
But yeah, I'm so excited about that. So I guess this does tie into my latest gaming endeavors. I have only played. I'm in Kirby. I am Kirby now.
You've become
I've
Kirby.
become Kirby. Because my journey to 100%, I'm actually at 77%. So like we're getting there.
Oh geez, that's very close.
Yeah, journey to 100%. Turns out last week we were all like, oh, we finished the game, ha 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 ha. And according to Games Done Quick, which we should explain what that is, okay,
if real old heads will remember an early episode where I kind of did dive into it a little bit. But Games Done Quick is a speed running marathon where for a week they have a bunch of people specifically beating games as fast as possible under certain categories. So like a common one you'll hear is like any percent, which is get to a certain point in the game, usually like the end credits, as fast as possible, no matter what it takes. So you see a lot of fun glitches and stuff. You've got 100% runs where it's like collect every item in the game or like find every secret. Those are generally longer. And they have a bunch of other categories. Sometimes they have races where multiple people are trying to beat like Super Mario or something as quickly as possible. And it's all to benefit Doctors Without Borders. Hold on.
Yeah, because there's the summer games and then awesome games, and they each do a different charity, which is the same company, but they do it twice a year.
So I just want to make sure that I got this right. So June to July is for Doctors Without Borders, and then Awesome Games Done Quick, which is held in early January, raises money for the Prevent Cancer Foundation.
And they raise like millions a year. Like it's incredible.
And what I like to use it for is I watch games that I already enjoy, but also I find games that I've like heard of, or maybe even just sound interesting from the title. I watch the run and I make a little shopping list. And I go, that game looked really fun. I want to play that one.
That is a good way to use it, actually. Maybe I'll do that. That's actually would be fun. If anyone out there is watching SGDQ this week, if you send us this week before next Sunday which would be July 3rd. If you send them before July 3rd, we might have a chance to try a game out, or in the next couple of weeks, try it out for a honk and bonk section. So if you see something that you're like, I want them to talk about that. So I will say, yeah. So again, super pumped about Kirby because this is probably the first game in a long time that I feel like I've really gotten like deep into. Like, even though I loved Link's Awakening, I didn't go back to do any achievements. Like, I finished the game and said, well, good job, the end. Moved on.
Yeah. Not that game, I don't think that game has achievements, right?
Yeah, well, there was a couple things I feel like I could have done. We should look at my file and see what percent I ended up at.
Because the original didn't have like a percent.
Really? I don't know. Yeah. I just assumed it did because almost all the games I played do. But anyway, so I'm pumped for Kirby because it's a game that I like know inherent. Like, I've played it. I stayed up late to play it. I play it during my lunch break sometimes. Like, my hands hurt from playing it. I'm in it. I'm in the game. So I think it'll be really fun to watch a speed run. I've watched speed runs, but I've never watched one of a game that I like know so well. So it's going to be really fun, I think, to see what they do to do it really fast. So I'm excited for that. I'm also really excited, guys. It's time. It's time for Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion. Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion will be featured. Will be here. Will be speed run for a 45-minute speed run. It is at 5 a.m. Eastern time on Thursday, June 30th. So
set your calendar, set your alarms, wake up early. You got to watch this run.
Yeah, we will be. So I did also want to say that we're going to try our very best. We're two people with, believe it or not, full-time jobs. This isn't our only job. So, but we want to try our best to be really active on our social media accounts this week. And we do plan to be like live tweeting during the Turnip Boy. I'll be posting some stuff to Instagram and TikTok for Turnip Boy. So if you are up at that time, feel free to join in. And if not, hopefully check it out after. But we're very excited. We want to do some live donations during that time. So pumped. I'm pumped for Turnip Boy. I mean, I said on the pod, I wanted to be a Turnip Boy speedrunner. So this is just like the beginning.
This is how you learn how to do it.
This is the origin story. So I'm really excited for that. So I think those are the two I'm most excited for. They're also doing Link's Awakening, the one that I played, the new Switch one.
Specifically a race, if I remember right. Yeah. So it's going to be two people.
It's not glitchless. Ideal of a time, like even though 5 a.m. is not ideal, at least it's like not during work hours, but the Link's one is. So I'm going to try to time my workload so I can have it on in the background at least, but we'll see. But yeah, what about you, Isaac? What are you excited about?
So the final game of SGDQ is Elden Ring, which I'm excited to see because I have heard, so they have two actually back to back. If we as a community meet the bonus game incentives, we'll not only see the All Remembrances run, which is there's an item in the game called a remembrance that you get from beating big bosses. So like this is beating every boss, but there's also a way to beat the entire game in less than half an hour or around half an hour by abusing some glitches. And that's the bonus any percent run.
Amazing.
To continue the Legend of Zelda theme, Ocarina of Time is always a fun speed run to watch. They have this one tactic where like they place a bomb and put their shield up and do like a backflip or something at the exact right time, and then they can slide across basically the entire map at super high speeds.
I can't wait.
And it's always fun to see that kind of stuff. They have a Wind Waker run, Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker, and Wind Waker is one of my favorite, I think, of the 3D Zelda games. Mostly for the graphical style, and it's just in general a fun time, but I've never actually seen a speed run of it, so that'll be interesting. There's a game called Tunic, which is I've heard of it, so I want to watch the speed run as kind of how interesting would I actually find this. I've heard it described as like a mix between Dark Souls and Link's Awakening.
Ooh.
So that's going to be interesting to see in action. I mean, I could look up gameplay right now on YouTube or Twitch, but I'm going to save it for the speed run.
Okay. No, you should.
Celeste is always a good time.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that one.
Yep. So Celeste is going to be there. I think I think that they have a run by a person and a run by AI, a tool assisted speed run. The tool assisted speed run specifically for Celeste is wild to see because there's a bug in the game where if you're in water, if I'm remembering it right, it's been a while since I've seen one of these speed runs, but if you press like the jump button while you're in water, or some kind of like thing that usually slows you down, like you gain momentum for every time you tap the A button or the jump button or whatever. And a human can get like a little bit of a speed boost by doing this, but an AI can press the button like every frame and they're getting like 60 frames per second. So they just suddenly blast across the entire map. And you're like, oh, okay. Wow. Yakuza Like a Dragon has a speed run. Oh. Which I love Yakuza games. I usually watch every Yakuza game that comes to AGDQ. There is a Pokemon randomizer. Randomizers are a good time because if you can't tell by the name, they switch like all the items and like Pokemon and everything around. So like, even if you know the game, you kind of you always run into surprises because it's a unique run each time. Klonoa is one of my I love the Klonoa series, so they have a Klonoa speedrun. I gotta wake up early to watch that. And Final Fantasy VI Randomizer is the last one. When I scrolled through the schedule, that was another one that I was like, oh, that's gonna be interesting to watch. So that's my list of SGDQ.
I was looking at the schedule and I noticed you mentioned Super Hot, but it's specifically Super Hot VR. So I do kind of want to watch that because I've played that and I think it's really fun.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
People watching me play always laugh because I'm like literally like ducking and rolling. Like,
well, you have to. That's the point of VR.
It's so fun. Also, really good news I realized. So even though Elden Ring is at like midnight, is at midnight on Sunday, we have Monday off.
We have Monday off? Oh, because 4th of July.
So wow. We don't even have to worry about staying up late. We stay up as late as we need to.
Incredible.
Anyway, so yeah, so I've been playing Kirby. Isaac, have you been playing anything else or have any other news for us besides SGDQ?
No new news that I remember or took notes on, but as per our last episode, we did talk about the Steam Next Fest.
Oh yeah.
And I was able to play a couple of those games. I downloaded a bunch of demos for strategy games, and I was only able to play 3 of them between doing everything else the last 2 weeks. But I figured I'd give like a short little recap of what they are. So the first game I played was Catizens, which is a city builder a la Banished, or honestly, I should have come up with like a list of other games that this is like. But you have citizens, you build a town, or you have Catizens, you build a town, fight pigs, explore, gather resources, make a bigger town. More Catizens are attracted to your town. You make it a nice, comfy little town for them. Each cat has different traits that affects how they interact with other cats. Some might like to fight, some might be lazy, some can fish, some can hunt.
I love this game. I haven't played it, but I watched Isaac play, and it's great.
When I was playing, when I went to show Claire, one of the cats that we got was a loner, and he was
Toby.
Like, he was a loner and shallow. So like he needed the town to be a certain like popularity rating, but he also needed to be completely separate from every other cat.
Literally separate. Like he would get upset if a cat walked within like a yard of him. He was like, ew, get out of here.
And we built him a house off
a popular town.
Yeah, like he wants to know that he's living in a popular town.
But he doesn't want to be a part of it.
One thing that I noticed, and so all these games are demos, so like works in progress, not quite released yet. I just wanted to point out some things that I felt with them in case the developers happen to listen, or so people are aware of them. If anybody has ever played Dwarf Fortress, there is this syndrome, or used to be. There's been a lot of development since last time I played, so it might not happen anymore. There was a case like your castle, your fortress would be under siege by a goblin army. One of your soldiers got killed, and then like a rush of your civilians would just exit your castle to grab like the still flaming socks of your dead soldiers, put those socks on, catch on fire themselves, and then like burn your entire fortress down. Catizens has a little of that going on. There was like a piece of wood on the ground, and there was like 3 boars around it. And as I was sending my knight to go fight the boars, a bunch of cats were running to collect that piece of wood. They were like, we got to get that piece of wood. And while the knight was fighting the boars, one cat decided that they wanted to introduce themselves to the knight. So they walked up, interrupted the fight, and started talking to the knight. And I was like, there's literally a battle going on. What are you doing? So quirky little things like that. I think most city builders like have that. Getting AI to do smart things, very difficult, very fun to watch the havoc. The second game I played was Rogue Warlords. Again, a strategy game. This one isn't really focused on city building. There's no buildings at all. This one is the sheer euphoria of sending armies of hundreds to thousands of soldiers at each other and kind of watching the mayhem, to the point where it was kind of more of a toy or a screensaver than a game. It was fun to watch the tides of battle. Like every 30 seconds or something, you get more money and you can buy more soldiers, and then they spawn in. I just wish that I could have controlled where the units spawned to some degree, because then I feel like it would be more of an engaging experience rather than, okay, every 30 seconds, I'm going to click, I'm going to summon 100 more guys, watch them fight, and, you know, maybe buy some upgrades. Like there just didn't seem to be a lot of player involvement except for like the purchasing of units. You could sort of control them on the field, but because the battles were so large, they're usually, because they spawned in like behind the lines, you couldn't really do a lot of maneuver. So that's Rogue Warlords. Then there was Pursuit of Power 2, the Chaos Dimension, which was a wildly fast-paced. This was also a real-time strategy game about summoning in enemies on a much smaller scale. You don't have like hundreds of them. It was kind of interesting. A lot of the mechanics didn't seem well explained through game. There was a tutorial screen that kind of gave an overview of all that was happening. But like you start with one castle, and it immediately starts sending like zealots, which are what the game calls like worker units, to like another empty castle on the map. And then once you conquer that castle, which is after a certain number of zealots get inside of it, I don't actually know the mechanism. It just seemed like, you know, once you get a certain number of people inside, then you can go to another blank castle. You can't directly control the zealots, and I don't know what's going on with those, but you can summon like minotaurs and stuff. And then every once in a while, there will be chaos portals that summon a bunch of monsters, and then you can control the chaos portals, and then those monsters that it summons will be on your side. But then sometimes they'll switch to their true masters, it says, and then they'll start fighting your own soldiers again. And you can't control the monsters from the portals. And then the enemy, there's like an actual enemy player who's also sending their monsters at your bases. And it's very chaotic. I will say, the one thing that I think it could have used the most was hotkeys for the various spells and summoning that you could use, because I found it hard to click and aim and stuff.
And these are all
stuff was happening.
PC games, right?
These are all PC games, so they're all Steam Next Fest. So they're all on Steam. I believe that the demos are still up. I actually haven't checked, but it would be very strange for me if they like put all these demos up for Next Fest and then like took them down when it was over, and they're like, you don't get to play these anymore.
Yeah, I gotta check it out because I really want to play that cat one.
So okay, Catizens, like you can still download and you can wish list and say, hey, I want this game to happen. They don't have a way for you, like you can't go and see what was showcased on Next Fest anymore. Like they don't have that search parameter. but you can still find all the games that are demoed.
Cool. All right. Sweet.
I just realized there is more news. Speaking of Steam,
okay.
Summer Steam sale started yesterday, so 90% off, 50% off games, like crazy deals on a lot of games, especially popular games. So, you see something you like on SGDQ, you buy it on Steam. Boom.
SGDQ
works out. Like a Dragon right now is 55% off. I could pay $60, or after I watch the speed run, I only pay $27. Boom.
Wow.
And then my final latest gaming endeavor / news is I started playing a game called Dread Delusion by Lovely Hellplace, which I will talk about in the honks and bonks. Speaking of honks and bonks, Claire, have you played a game that you want to honk and bonk?
Wow, you still have honks and bonks even though you just honked and bonked like 4 games.
I have been gaming so hard lately.
See, and I also have, but it has only been Kirby. So.
Which you already honked and bonked. So
I think so, right? Or did you do that? Just you? I can't remember if we each did it, but
I think you did. We'd have to review the episodes.
I know. I think I did. But anyway, so I'm not honking and bonking Kirby. I am gonna honk and bonk. So I subscribe to a newsletter. It's called The Hustle. And it just talks about like, I don't know, business news, I guess. I don't know why I'm on it. I guess it makes more sense now with my new job, but still it's like I am not the target audience.
Yeah, however, you're not a business.
I like reading it, so I like it. And I like it. So what they've started doing is at the end of all their email newsletters, they have like a cure boredom link, which is usually just something interesting they found online. And lately they've been doing a lot of like browser games for this segment. So I decided to play a quick one to honk and bonk. So the one I played was called The Uber Game. I'll put a link in the show notes to access it, but it's called The Uber Game. It's on browser, so you can just play it on your computer or on your phone. I played on my phone and I had no issues with that. And it is by Robin Kwong, David Blood, Leslie Hook, Rebecca Turner, Callum Locke, Andrew Rinnesland, Nikolai Knoll, and Joanna. Oh, shoot. I spelled that wrong. Joanna Cow. Okay. And it was made for Financial Times. And as a long list, because they're not actually like a developing company. It seems like they just made it. So the idea is that it's kind of like a click and choose story style game.
Okay, like would you say a choose your own adventure kind of?
Yeah, deal? I guess. Like, so it'll be like, there's surge pricing 30 minutes from you. Are you going to drive over there or keep running your regular route? And you pick. So that's like a good example of gameplay. So it goes pretty quick, and the idea is to make it as realistic as possible. So they base this game off of data that the Financial Times collected, as well as interviewing Uber drivers to kind of gather and create this game.
Oh, interesting. So it's like this is real. This is
pretty much. I mean, it's still a game, but yes. So my first honk is that it does bring awareness to the gig economy and kind of what that really looks like on a day-to-day basis. So really, the idea of the game is you need to earn $1,000 to pay your mortgage, and you have 7 days. And so, can you earn $1,000 doing Uber in 7 days? And I mean, $1,000 a week sounds like a lot, but when you think about how many other bills they probably have, that's besides mortgage, like they just kind of picked that as like the goal. It's like pay the mortgage.
So they assume only does the game factor in other potential things?
So not for you. So the only goal in the game is to have your net income be $1,000 by the end of 7 days. Now, to be fair, 7 days is working every single day. So you don't get a day off. Most of the days you end up working in the game are like 9 to 12-hour days. So it is not glamorizing this in any way. And you do have expenses. Like you have to pay for your car. You have to pay for your data plan for your phone because you're going to be playing music and using it to navigate, right? All these things that you have to pay for in real life if you're an Uber driver kind of come to fruition in the game. So that is a honk. I think it's cool to show the realism of what it's really like in the world for a lot of people, and to base it on data is cool. So I applaud that. The other honk is that there are actual tough choices. Like, it's not so cut and dry that you're like, well, obviously if I do this, it's like yell at a customer or tell or say nothing, you know, like there's nothing like that where it's like so obvious what you need to do. Sometimes you really have to think about it. Like, it's like, well, do I go for surge pricing, or like, will it be over by the time I get there? Like, what if I hit traffic on the way? You know, like like what's worth it and what's not worth it with this game that Uber is, because really Uber itself is kind of a game with like all the different things. Like, I found out I missed out because I picked a Prius over a minivan because I thought, well, the Prius is going to get better gas mileage. It'll be cheaper. It's like a nice car. But then apparently if you got the minivan, you could be an Uber XL and you could get more money. So I was like, but I didn't know that. So these little things are like, the choices are actually tough. It's not like taking a like Harry Potter quiz and it's like, are you brave or a snake? It's like, no. So yeah.
Wait, the options are brave or snake?
Well, so there's this is like a meme, but like what every like house quiz is like,
oh, sorry. Okay, sorry. I missed that you were talking about like a Harry Potter thing.
Oh yeah, no, I said like Harry Potter quizzes. It's always like,
sorry,
I
completely glossed over
make
that.
breakfast, or do you make it like a snake would make breakfast? And it's like, all right, okay. So that's kind of cool too. Is like it doesn't really seem like there's one right path. I didn't make it though. I will say I did not win. Did not get my 1,000. I think I made like $780 with all my expenses. But yeah, and I will say another honk is that it's pretty quick to play through. So it's a nice game. Again, it works really well on mobile. If you have like 15 minutes, you can just pick it up, try it out. And it encourages replays, I think. Like, I would like to see, you know, oh, if I make different choices, can I actually get to the 1,000? But that leads to one of my bonks, which is there isn't much variability. And I mean, I know for a little game like this, I feel kind of silly bonking it because it really is more like illustrating something versus being a game, but
yeah,
gonna bonk it anyway. Yeah, there's so much variability. So if you play it again, it's the exact same game over and over. It's the same week, it's the same city. So it's just kind of like, you can play a harder level where you live outside of the city. So it takes you longer to drive in, which I haven't tried yet. But other than that, it's pretty much exactly the same. And I do think it is a little too quick. Like, I don't know, it'd be kind of cool to like dive in, like play a whole month, maybe be able to have a login. Like, I guess what I'm saying, this is more of like, I think this could be a game. Like, you could probably expand it into something else. And then another bonk, which is my new category of bonks, which is like, wouldn't it be cool if I would love to see more games in this like category of like showing what the gig economy is like. Like, I want to see the freelance graphic designer game. I want to see the Instacart game. I want to see the like wedding photographer game. Just like, because I think people who aren't or have never or don't know people who work that way just assume it's like this choose your own schedule, make bank life.
I feel like at least one of those, at least like the wedding photographer sounds like one that like exists.
It might, maybe it does. Maybe it does. But
because I know that there's an entire there's an entire simulation category, house flipper simulator.
Yeah, well, okay, so here's the thing. There's simulator and then there's like actual simulator. So there's like, oh, you're like, there's like hotel story, and then there's like, what is it actually like to run a hotel? So like this, I'm saying like games that are based in data that are designed to shed light on a certain thing in our society versus be fun. I mean, I think they should still be fun, but it's something that I've thought about a lot, where I wish there was a reality show where you take like someone who had every opportunity in the world and give them like the resume of a current 25-year-old and see if they can get a job. And like, because they think it's all the same and that's the only thing different. I mean, that's going off. That's like a whole other topic. But I mean, it's like this kind of like societal simulation of what it's really, really like out there now.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Something that I think would be cool to see in other sectors. So I think it's cool they did it for Uber. I think it'd be great to see it in other instances. And that's my honks and bonks. Getting deep.
Cool.
But I think
interesting.
I'm very interested in your honk and bonk. So if you want to jump right on that.
So I bring to the altar today Dread Delusion by Lovely Hell Place. It is a first-person RPG, sword and sorcery, Trying to think of a close equivalent for people to reference by. I would say it's very similar. Well, in a lot of ways, it's very similar to the Elder Scrolls games, specifically Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, especially in setting. So it is a series of sky islands. There is a magicocracy church thing. It's like a mixture of Warhammer 40K and Morrowind. There's mushrooms all over the place. The goblins that you fight are these like woolly sheep-like creatures wearing masks, and then while you're fighting them, like their stomach opens up to reveal a massive mouth. There's like floating squids that you harvest silk from. There's crafting. It's a fantastic little game. It's got pretty much everything that I've been looking for. Even its graphics are made to resemble like an early era, I would say late PlayStation 1, early PlayStation 2 style graphics. I know that is a big bonk for Claire because I showed her the game for 2 seconds and she was like,
one.
I hate this.
I didn't remember the name of it, but now I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, there's and it's got an interesting story where you are a prisoner awoken by like you're freed from prison by the Inquisitor who has you imprisoned, and he's like, go kill this rebel. And you're like, okay. You go find the rebel, and this actually leads me to my first honk. I'm interrupting this story to mention that levels, like your character gains levels and that increases your power and stuff. They're called delusions in this game.
Oh yes.
And I gained a delusion by confronting the rebel leader and telling them that I was there to capture them. And then, so when I selected that dialogue option, it was like, you've gained a delusion. And I was like, oh, I really am delusional. I'm some half-starved prisoner coming like straight from the prison with a rusty dagger to kill a rebel whose forces just annihilated like the entire Inquisitor like battle retinue. Like, I walk up a field of my own side's corpses to get to this fortress. There's like 20 people dead. And I come to the leader of the faction who did this, and I'm like, I'm going to capture you. And it's like, yeah, no, you're delusional. Gain a delusion. Very cute. I loved that. I love that you can like be delusional and gain delusions. That's very thematic, very, very aesthetic. I love it. I also liked that there's like these floating zombie angel things. So they're like cybernetic cyborgs, the upper torso of a human with like a completely robotic skull, and they've got like mechanical wings and they're flying very 40K. And they give you hints on how to play the game. They're like info servants or something. And they all tell you like, you're pretty likely to fail, so you should just sneak through this section. Like, you should not directly fight anything right now. Don't do that. And I'm like, okay, thank you for explaining to me that this isn't that kind of game where I can just run through and cut everyone down. Because I feel like if your game does not have like a super action combat, you are a godly hero that is expected to kill everything focus, like you really do need to tell players, and it's good game design to tell players like, hey, this is what we're going for here. This is not the latest God of War game where you can just run up and kill a bunch of enemies with axes and you get cool cutscenes every time you kill something. Like, this is a little different. These enemies are gonna whoop your little butt. Oh, wow. Which also leads me directly to my next my bonk. I see an NPC outside of a house. Immediately after being told that I should sneak, there's 2 enemies in front of the house. I want to talk to the NPC. I'm trying to find a way inside this house, and the only way to do it is to go to the front, which is guarded by the 2 enemies, and like talking to the NPC. He's like, oh, there's a person inside, you should talk to them. And then you talk to the person, but in the process of like talking to anyone, you 100% of the time get spotted. And maybe bonking this is a little unfair because this could be like a risk reward kind of test. Like, hey, if you want to be daring, here's this extra little bonus item or scene that you can get, but you do have the risk of these two enemies and you have to fight them.
I don't know.
Both at the same time.
Every game I've played, it's like you're rewarded for talking to NPCs. Like I like you either have to or you get different parts. Like that took me a long time to get into the habit of. So I feel like I would also be frustrated because I'd be like, isn't this what I'm supposed to do?
Yeah, exactly. Because like every other NPC up until that point was like a tutorial, and also this one was kind of a tutorial because he was the little scene with the Inquisitor. Like you talk to the NPC and it says, oh, there's a guy inside. He might help you, but he might recognize you as a prisoner. So you might have to be charming. And there's a skill called charm, which you use on the dying guy. And if you have a high enough charm level, if you have a high enough charm level, you get a little item. I think it's a health potion or gold or something. I forget exactly what it is, but it is a reward of some sort. And I think that house is meant to introduce the concept of how to use the charm skill to show you how that happens. Like an extra dialogue option will come up, and then there are consequences for failing it if you choose that dialogue. And if you pass it, you get some kind of little bonus thing. I think that's what it's meant for. But if you can't sneak in and you have to fight these two enemies and you're literally told 20 seconds before this, don't fight the enemies, they're probably stronger than you should sneak past them. I don't know how you get the charm info without being really bold. So my next bonk is that hovering over. So, okay, when you craft an item, it will show you the ingredients that you need. It will show you a picture of the ingredients that you need. Hovering over it won't tell you what those ingredients are. So I ran into a situation where in order to upgrade my rusty dagger to a steel sword, I needed a kind of ore. Mm-hmm. The graphic for the steel ore, I think it was called, and the poor ore are so similar. There's like crystals in a rock. The good ore is slightly bigger crystals. There's no color differences or anything. So I found a poor ore and I ran all the way back to this blacksmithing station, all excited, like, oh boy, I'm going to upgrade. And then it was like, no, that's actually, no, you don't have the item you need. And I was like, no. Oh, the crystals are slightly bigger. Okay. So I think that you should be able to hover over these items and it should say at least the name so that you can recognize that, whatever. And then also on the map, it shows these landmarks. Hovering over them doesn't tell you what those landmarks are. And I am looking at these landmarks on the map, and a lot of them I can't really tell what area they're supposed to represent just based on the picture, because I'm like, I don't think I saw anything like that. And like one of them is just a hill. I'm like, which special hill is this? But my final bonk is you have a stamina bar, and pretty much anything you do will make the maximum stamina reduce. And there's no way to bring your maximum stamina back except for drinking stamina potions, which seems very rare, or sleeping. And I've only found, I think, 2 beds, one of which you have to pay for, and one is super early in the game so far. I've played a couple hours. I'm not super far into the game. What's annoying is that your stamina lowers at such a rapid rate, but you like need stamina to swing swords and stuff. Like you can swing your sword at no stamina. I think. I'm pretty sure you can, but it does way less damage. Okay. And like just getting from the inn to like a dungeon, I was already at like half stamina. Like half of my maximum stamina. So that was a little frustrating because it's like I got to the point where I need to fight monsters and I'm already bad at fighting monsters. and I only had like 2 stamina potions. And there's no beds to sleep in inside of the dungeon. So it's like, what do I do now? Like, what? So that's a little clunky. Not my style of thing. Like I get what they're going for. They're trying. I think it's just a little overtuned for the negatives and a little tweaking. It is an early access game, so all these things can and might be changed by like the full release. But it's something that I can work with, and I've obviously been working with because I've played this game pretty obsessively since I got it. But yeah, that is Dread Delusion by Lovely Hellplace. 100% recommend. Go buy the game and play it while you watch SGDQ. That's what I'm saying. Now that I've talked for 3.5 hours about a weird game, a weird niche, it's not that niche. It's Skyrim.
It looks like
for nostalgia nerds.
It looks like Windows 3D Movie Maker, but okay.
Oh, so do you have? Are you gonna pitch a game idea to me? Are you gonna beg for funding?
I am gonna pitch a game, but I'm worried now that it already exists. So because my game pitch, the working title is Flip That House, which was supposed to be a sequel to B&B, my game. If you want to listen, like I don't know, episode like 2 or 3. And yeah, you said flipping house simulator already today, so I was like, God. Damn.
House Flipping Simulator already also has a DLC for pets.
For pets?
I don't know exactly what that means. Like, I don't know how a pet is involved in flipping a house, but
yeah. So I don't know. I feel kind of like the wind is out of my sails. Like this game already exists apparently, and I can't make it.
I shouldn't have said anything. I'm so sorry.
Didn't know. You didn't know. So I don't know. I guess like that's it. Go play the game that exists. Right? I don't know. Like, is it worth pitching? I'm sure it's the same game.
Okay. Well. All right.
I don't know much about this game, so. But yeah, I was thinking. I guess I'll tell you a little bit what I was thinking because like my game B&B was basically like bread and breakfast simulator. You like make an inn out of like an old house, and so Flip the House is supposed to be like that, but you're flipping the house. So again, just like B&B, you'd have to select a team of people, and like their skills will kind of determine certain things as you go about your journey. So like who your agent is, who your contractors are, like if you have someone working with you, etc. You have to like choose what to fix, and I put what to quote unquote landlord special. And then those choices will like come back to haunt you throughout the game probably. And then the whole game is can you sell the flip? So yeah, that's the game.
So what you just described sounds more like a management kind of thing, where this game that I'm looking at, the house flipper game, is a first person, like you actually have to break down the walls, clean the floor, repaint it, add tiles and stuff.
So never mind. This is a totally different game. Flip That House is a totally different game. So now, yeah, I'm back in it.
You hire a team. This sounds more like in the vein of like the kinds of games that I play.
Yeah, like well, again, it's supposed to be like a sequel to B&B, which B&B is that too. I mean, you get design choices, like you get to say I'm painting the walls blue or whatever.
Right. But that's more of like a menu option, and then you have one of your workers. Well, I would assume that one of your workers would do it, and then based on their skills or trades, like it would take them a certain amount of time, and they might do a good job, and then you can like inspect it, and you see that they've painted over the light switch, and you're like, "Dang it, Toby!" Well, and then Toby gets within 3 feet of another flipper and gets upset and breaks the wall.
And kind of like what I said too with like blue, like it's actually really uncommon to see colors in a flip because you're trying to make your flip look nice, but also as customizable as possible.
As neutral as possible.
Neutral is a better word. So that's why. So we actually live in we're pretty almost 100% sure was flipped before we moved in. It's actually super rare. We have like bluey gray walls, and I love that about our apartment because it's like not. I hate looking at the like landlord white. I just can't stand it. I just can't stand it. And so that was like a big honk for me for this apartment was that it isn't just white, but it still is a neutral blue. Like it's not like a bright blue or like, it's still a very neutral palette, but it's just not white, which I think is nice. And they also didn't paint over a lot of the hardware. Like we still have doorknobs, we still have hinges. It's like pretty cool.
But they did paint over some things.
Some things, yes, but not everything. So pretty cool for that. There's also, all right, well now I'm just going into it, but I think this is so cool. You'll see a lot on TikTok of people like opening drawers and then they can't open their oven or vice versa, right? So our dishwasher, if our dishwasher is fully open, there's a cabinet right across from it. It literally opens with like a millimeter of space. Like you can open the cabinet fully while the dishwasher is open, and it's like perfectly measured. And I just think that's so cool.
Interesting.
I just think that's neat for our house. Anyway, so in the game, you would kind of make these decisions, and based on what decisions you make, and maybe there'd be some kind of like market simulator too. So like you're playing in different market scenarios of who's buying houses and how much they're going for. Like, can you make money on your flip? And that's the game. You'll have surprises like, oh no, the water heater actually sucks. Just like B&B, I want there to be a moment where it's like, we're gonna rip up this carpet and find beautiful hardwood, and it's like, nope. Like that'll be randomized, so like maybe you do, or maybe it's trash, who knows. Supply chain issues, that could be fun. So yeah, so that's the game. I'm glad it doesn't already exist. I'm glad the house flip simulator is completely different than my house flip simulator. But I mean, this can happen. This is the risk we take every day for all of you. When we come to the table here, with games,
we could embarrass ourselves. We could just come up with an exact game that already exists.
Yeah, we are risking that every day for you all. So I hope it's a sacrifice worth making. Well, Isaac, do you have a game to pitch to me?
I do. I have a game I call Stormchild.
Oh, good name. I think you have to say it like that too.
You do. It is I say classic 3D platformer. So this is going to be like Croc, or I don't know why I use Croc. Croc is such an obscure one.
Yeah,
but like Donkey Kong 64, Mario 64.
Oh.
Those kinds of games where
Mario 64 is that's the one you had, right? That you were playing?
Yeah.
Oh, it was like one of the ugliest games.
Well, it doesn't have to graphic. I'm just saying like gameplay wise. So
it also looks like 3D Movie Maker.
It is a 3D world that you jump, that you explore levels via running, jumping, etc., etc. Okay. However, the twist on this one is so I don't know if Switch has this capacity, but I'm going to assume that it does, or if it doesn't, then this could be a VR or even a phone game where there is no attack button. You actually have to do a little spin. So your character is a cloud.
Sorry, you have to physically spin your body.
You have to physically spin your body.
I love this.
Because you turn into a little tornado.
Take my money. Here it is.
Exactly. The more you can spin, the longer you can like fly through the air as a tornado. And this is how you accomplish tasks. So like when you fight an enemy, you can just do like a single spin. Most of the time it'll bounce the enemy away. Maybe you have to do multiple attacks, but like if you want to get up high someplace, you have to keep spinning. And what I like about this being a Switch game, for example, so you have the Joy-Cons in each hand, and if it can track this, like you have to spin in place. There's not really a way that you can hack this system. You think you could?
No, I don't think I can. Sorry, I said I think it could track it.
Okay, I think
could
so.
Hack it, which sounds exactly the same, so I understand.
I also like the concept of someone like actually just taking their Switch and like spinning it, like throwing it in the air and like spinning it.
Or they could get like a robot to do it for them.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I think the intent is like, I think making it a spin makes it a challenge for them to hack, right? Like it's not like Just Dance where you can sit on the couch and like make the arm movements.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all there is really to describe about the game. It is a well-known genre with a specific mechanical twist to get the player really involved. That's Stormchild. Would you buy Stormchild?
I already said, yeah. I mean, that
Good.
sounds so fun. Like, as long as it doesn't look like Mario 64, I'm in.
No,
I want it to look like Link's Awakening, but be played.
It looks like Link's Awakening. As the investor, you can make these decisions. You're an executive producer. I think,
but like not obviously the same like world.
Right.
Anyway, cool. Well, once we've pitched our games, it's time to pitch more games in our favorite segment, or at least it's mine, rapid fire round. We need a soundboard so we can do silly sounds.
That was my sound. That was my version of air horn. I hope I did good.
I don't know why I went to like lasers for that.
Yeah, come on.
Pew, 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 pew. Rapid fire. Well, rapid fire. Okay.
Oh, boom. There we go.
Boom. All right, great. So we are going to choose 3 random words from a random word generator. We have 5 minutes to create a game with those words. We have to use all of them, but we can be creative about that. And we need to come up with a fully fledged game, pretty much, including a name for the game. Are you ready for our first 3 words?
Yes.
Da-da-da-da. Okay. Oh boy. Appointment.
Okay. Appointment.
Option.
Okay.
And lamp.
Appointment, option, and lamp.
Yes. Appointment, option. When I saw appointment option, my first thought was like the devastating state of US healthcare. But then I'm like, let's not make a game about that.
Yeah, let's not get depressed.
Let's not do that.
Let's go to a happy place with this. Yeah. So I don't know where option. So this isn't a game. Okay.
Well, are you thinking about lamp shopping? Because there are stores where you can get like lamp consulting.
No, I was thinking even dumber. Like you are at a doctor's appointment.
Okay.
And you're waiting in the waiting area. And one of the things that you can interact with to pass time is a little lamp.
Okay, wait. I'm kind of into this, but what if you're like, this isn't a game either? But like, you know how especially at the dentist, there's like things to distract you on the ceiling?
No, I've never looked at a ceiling inside of a appointment room, like a waiting room.
But when you're not waiting room, like in the dentist chair.
Oh, my dentist does not have those.
Oh. Well, most dentist offices I've been to have like pretty pictures on the ceiling, or like so that you can like be distracted because you have to stare at the ceiling for like the whole appointment.
Okay.
So it could be
that would be fun.
Yeah, you would love. There was one that had like a TV screen I went to once, and it was just like images of animals, just like a slide.
Aww.
That's nice.
I'm all about that.
Maybe you like, but there's also a lamp so they can see what's going on. So like maybe you're like looking at the lamp and there's like little like mini games that you play until your appointment's done. But it's like that's not really a game. It's like a detour in a game. I don't know.
I think so maybe that could actually work. I mean, so games don't necessarily need to be super gamey.
That's true.
Like it could be more of just an experience. You're selling an experience, and
the experience is going to the dentist. A much loved pastime of all.
So there is the gamification. You do beat levels by actually waiting the amount of time required. Like if you can quit the game when you're bored, but then you lose the level
because you haven't finished your appointment.
Yes.
And maybe it could be like you can't get like maybe you'll hear sounds. I feel like I have to tell like if my mom's listening, she has to turn it off. She hates the dentist. Like skip till I'm done this game pitch. But you could hear sounds of like drills or something. And so like if you like stop playing your mini game because of like something that's happening, then you lose.
Oh, you just have to completely ignore it.
Yeah, like you have to be immersed in your distraction.
Wow. Yeah. I think we've got something going on here, and we just call it like wait room.
Well, but it's not a waiting room. It's if you're in the appointment.
Wow, how did I miss that we were actually in the appointment? I thought it was the waiting room.
But I said that it was when you're in the chair and you're looking up and that there's distracting sounds of the work being done on your teeth.
Oh. Well.
Okay.
All right. Appointment simulator.
Phew.
Bless you.
Say that again.
Appointment simulator?
Okay. Well, because I sneezed, I have to cut it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So appointment simulator, done.
Boom, 1 minute left.
Amazing. All right. Are you ready for our next 3 words?
Yes.
I should take an allergy meds today. All right. Circumstance.
Okay.
Snuggle.
Okay.
And recognize. Nothing is jumping out at me here, I will say, but circumstance, snuggle, recognize.
Circumstance, snuggle, recognize. I mean,
okay.
Circumstance is generic enough. Like there's always circumstances. We can scrub that one. That one's...
I might be able to play off a bit of my like deepest fear as a child, which was that my stuffed animals are like, what's another word for that? Because apparently not everyone calls them that.
Plushes?
Yeah, plushes, stuffed animal. I said stuffed animals once to a child and they looked at me like I was talking about taxidermy and I was like, no.
Oh, wow.
So I just wanted to make sure that it was clear we're talking about toys. But anyway, my fear was that my stuffed animals would like be replaced by identical stuffed animals, but they weren't mine.
Okay.
I know. But maybe it's that like I'm going with snuggle here, right? So it's like maybe you have to like you get a good look at like a teddy bear, and then that teddy bear is placed in a lineup of like 12 other teddy bears, and you have to pick out which one is yours in like a time limit. You have to recognize your teddy bear.
I was sort of thinking the same thing, but I was thinking like spot the difference images.
Okay, I mean, it basically is that, right? It's like the same.
Yeah. So so it's a spot the difference game. Mm-hmm. With a specific focus on stuffed so anything snuggly. So scenes with stuffed animals, with blankets, with puppies and kittens, or animal families in general,
but
like,
I like the
bears
idea of, like,
snuggling with each other.
Many that are very similar.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. No, I think this is good. It's a cozy spot the difference game. What are we going to call it?
Cozy spot the difference game. Does what it says on the tin. What'd you say? Snuggle?
Snuggle up.
Snuggle spy.
Snuggle spy. That's creepy.
Because it's spy the difference.
No, I get it, but
snuggle spot? Snuggle spot the difference.
Snuggle spot the difference. Stamp approved. We're moving on.
All right, 2 minutes and 13 seconds left. That means 2 minutes and 45 seconds to do it. I can do math. Good
job. We are going to finish it with our last 3 words of the day. And for listeners, I guess, of the week. And actually, now that I said it, it's like, do we just do this for fun during the week? No.
I do, actually.
You do? You just go.
This is how I practice.
All right. Well, it would be the only way to practice. All right. The words are consensus.
Okay.
Incident.
Okay.
And reverse.
Okay, so you are a time traveler.
Yeah, obviously. Reverse got to be.
So you're a time traveler. You come to play, like, you come to incidents, like events that have occurred that you need to change. But in order to change them, you need to know specific enough details that you can rewrite the scene, but the way that you want it to happen.
I feel like we're getting like a Rashomon meets this like really bad virtual reality game I played about time travel. And I like it. You know, Rashomon, where it's like, that's the idea. That was like the first movie that did it, but where like different people tell the same event differently because every memory is different.
Exactly. Yeah. So you interview everybody, you find clues on the scene. So what it is you can't just change things about time. You have to rewrite that entire event from scratch. But like there are things that you need to make sure stay the same, and then things that you actually want to change.
Excuse me. Now I like this, but what is the gameplay? Like, how are we doing this? What is the person actually doing who's playing the game?
So it is a first person kind of point and clicky thing. Like that's how you walk around. That's how you find clues. You zoom in, you click on items, they can get added to your inventory. You can closer inspect them, etc. Maybe not first person. I imagine it like Stranger Things, where you can have discussions with people, ask them specific, or not Stranger Things. Life is Strange.
What? Okay, yeah.
Where you talk with people, you ask them certain questions, you have notes, but then when you actually want, like, you open up your time pad, right? Okay, you have like a little iPad,
and you can like add elements or something, like based on what you've discovered. So like if you haven't talked to the right person, you might not know about like the bird that flew by at noon or whatever that is.
Exactly. Okay. Right. So as you find these clues, it builds up all these events, but not all of them are actually what happened.
Yeah.
No, like, I think depending on what people say. So A, you have to find all the events. B, you have to use the
together
clues.
What the real event is, so you can
exactly. I like and then
this is
you start with the events. Like you start at a basic level with the events that you want to change in to. So like you know at the beginning, like I want like a pencil to drop. Like you already know, like I can't think of examples, but like a pencil to drop, right. Someone to sneeze, et cetera. Like you have those basic events, and then you have to piece together like what actually happened, and then you have to put in the correct order that you want everything to happen. And then you know how in Stranger Thing, or in Life is Strange, why do I keep saying Stranger Things? Yeah, you have the sequences where like you have to like watch an entire sequence, like early on in the first one, there's the paint bucket situation where like you keep doing different things, tweaking them, then you watch the entire thing unfold to see if you got it right.
Right.
I imagine that that's sort of happening. Okay. And then maybe you even collect new clues by actually watching your sequence. Like if you get it close, mm-hmm. you might realize, oh, what this person said is wrong. Mm-hmm. And then like that unlocks either a new item that you can put into the timeline, or you just lets you know that this is not like a real item to put in.
Yeah. No, I think this is great. I love this actually. And it is a little bit similar to the first Life is Strange, because that also includes time travel, but like this is like pretty different too. So I'm into it. Let's call it Time Detective.
Well, it's better than my idea, which was Time Fix 'em Up.
Ooh, is it better or is it?
Ooh, worse? You're right. No, well, we gotta use our up titles. Yeah. X 'em up.
I think so.
So Time Fix 'em Up.
Time Fix 'em Up.
30 seconds left.
Nice. All right. Well, that is the last rapid fire round game, but that is also the end of our episode. So I want to say we have all of our links in the show notes for any of our episodes, to all of the games that we talk about. I did notice on some platforms the links themselves might not work. So if you're like, I can't on the Pod Master 3000, I can't click it. Just go to our Anchor website and it's accessible there. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Make That Game Pod. And please do, especially for the next week. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, we can get some good stuff out there for SGDQ. And then if you want to email us with any game ideas you have, words you want us to use, games you want us to try, or just general things about the show, you can email us at makethatgamepodcast@gmail.com. And if you heard a game today that you think should exist in this world, we encourage you to get out there and make that game.
Oh.
That was the measure quality.
Wow. Yeah. We're good at this. Folks, we are in sync. Like a boy band.